right, AUDUSD September 30th. This is the trade you guys requested for me to do break down. Basically, I took this trade early morning, woke up, I took the trade. So this is what we're going to be talking about today. I'm going to go on a full walkthrough until we are at my position. Very important so you guys understand that for me, when it comes down to analyzing a pair or a trade, I have been trading for so long, it takes me less than 5 minutes to find a setup. So if there's no setup, I already know, like you guys saw in the mornings, I can just say if it's bad or good. So this is something that comes with time, but eventually you guys will be also able to do it. So in this particular price action, a lot of confusion for you guys came from this zone being respected. We'll talk about it also. Okay, so very important. Let's go and start Asia session. When it comes down to Asia session, again, like I said, we start and we analyze from at least the middle of Asia session instead of just doing the early session. So we start from the half and let's move price. I'm not going to talk too much about it until this point here that I saw pretty easily. So as you guys can see, price is pushing, right? And respecting this structural point, right? Like I said on the support and resistance video, those rejection candles are respecting our equal highs, right? Now we have a new structural low created. This adds even more evidence that we have a clear liquidity here. Pretty easy, right? Simple stuff. What happens when we have clear liquidity like this? We know that there's enticement. To have enticement, we have people entering here, right? New structural low. This point is a relevant structure because they made a new low, a new high, right? So very important. So this becomes a new structural low. This is how they would look to enter. Very straightforward. It's 19 pips stop loss. It's very small. I used to trade with 45 pips stop loss on the daily time frame and a H4 back in the day. So it's very not something uncommon for retailers. Again, when I say the word retailer, I'm not trying to be disrespectful because we are all retailers. It's just that you need to understand that the retail common strategies, the ones that are taught at school, the ones that the mentor teaches in hedge funds, the ones that are actually taught by brokers, the common norm of retail strategies are what I call retail. Okay? So now we have a new structural low, but what do we also have? A false break of structure. Why? Because this point is where it closed below, right? Instead of higher. This point here becomes the FBOSS. So let's identify this as an FBOSS. Right. So now we have potential confirmation that we have a SMT, right? We put as an SMT. So what kind of justification do we have about this SMT, right? First, it's at Asia high. Simple. Two, under Asia equal highs, right? Very simple. Three, have our FBOSS, our enticement to enter. Tell SMC would want to do this. Okay, good RR, very common practice. Now let's continue and press play. All right. Now we do have also equal lows here. Okay, making a new high here. Oops, sorry. Here. So now we have potentially really good liquidity here also. Okay. Breakout traders entering. We know it. All professionals now. You know where the liquidity is. So let's play price perfectly. There's an buy. So let's see if we have a reaction. Let me just go into the EM1 and check the justification and see on what type. So this is the POI they selected. Okay. Perfect. Let's see if we have a reaction. We do have a reaction. And now price is inducing Asia high. Okay. So inducement of Asia high. These guys are out. Only these guys remaining. And now we also have people entering at Asia high breakout. So actually there is a very common breakout strategy that people use the Asia session as breakout area. Literally one of the strategies I studied actually put pending limits, pending stops just above Asia high, right? Because I expect price to push in this direction coming out of Asia. Okay. So let's continue price and see what we have in store. Now we have here a POI, an inducement POI, no relevant break of structure. This is a risky take. Yeah, that's pretty obvious. Okay, so now we have this being taken out when there's no relevant break of structure. This would have been the relevant break of structure. It's a risky take. Okay, it's very, very risky. You don't want to do those ninja trades that you think that you guys know how to do it, but this is something that you shouldn't do, and you should not go on M1 and check what happens. Okay, just stay on M5 for now. Now price pushes lower, happens. Now we have filling this imbalance. Interesting. Do we have kind of a trend line forming? No, no trend line forming. Do we have a break and retest? No. Yeah, we'll just play price again. Okay, now we have a relevant break of structure. There's a little bit of speed in there. Not so excited about that. So this is something to take in note, that when there's speed and momentum, it's most likely an SMT, and this is something I don't like. That's only how I work. You guys can do your own diligence again. I repeat, everything that I teach you is based on my personal experience, based on my current skill level, based on my analysis and due diligence. You can believe me or you cannot. You take that decision. But one thing is sure is that what I show you works for me. Doesn't mean it will work for you. We all have our own understanding of the market. So now we also just put the little X's because I love those. I stopped doing it because people were copying me, but I guess I'll have to figure something else. So now we are creating that maybe our bus, right? Because there's not so significant liquidity taken. And this is something you need to understand, that yes, there's nothing to the left, but it's not so significant liquidity, but it can provide a reaction. And this, I've taken multiple trades like, okay, let's continue. Oh, okay. Now, okay. Coming back into that inducement POI. Okay. We'll check an M1 if there's something. So we had those equal highs. Confirmation of equal highs. Now, this would become maybe the inducement POI, and this zone should be respected. Oof, god damn. So are you starting to look a little bit of those patterns? Let's talk about it. We have liquidity, okay? We have liquidity. Then we have an inducement This is an inducement, and this is also an inducement. That inducement induces people and entices them enter there, and this inducement actually takes them out. This is why I don't like the word inducement. I think it's a false interpretation because the actual inducement is this. They are enticing people to enter. This we should think and potentially find another name because it's the inducement is this. Go find the dictionary or on Google the definition of inducement, and it's actually this. Okay, so now this takes out the liquidity, right? So what they do, they remitigate to continue higher. This has taken liquidity, so this means there's actually volume, right? Because you need to understand that they pull the price higher to get you in. They take you out. There's the release of the liquidity, but to push price higher, they need to stack orders. And this is where the famous name order block came from. They consolidate the price probably on lower time frame or whatever theory it is, but basically they stack the orders to higher. But we're not going to go into it. But when there's an inducement, and we usually, most cases, have an inducement POI, this inducement POI has volume and usually indicates an entry. See? Or one baby, come on. Yes, sir. Here we go. See? So it's an inducement POI equal, right? Now we have also equal lows, but since these are all juicy equal lows, but this point, and this is like really advanced stuff, but I heard some people complaining, so let's talk about it. This point led to this high, so this becomes the relevant break of structure, and as you can see, here you have your more confirmed entry, right? And this is where your boy would be entering with his beautiful stop loss, right? Precise and perfectly done. Go. And now, where does this trade would lead us? Of course, very obvious. The liquidity is clear and made high. Okay. Now I'm going to remove this because that's not the point of this video. I took only this trade. I was sleeping during this one. But just to show you that we have our inducement, we have an inducement POI, and on the lower time frame, there's actually the same exact story. Let's continue. Price is lower, very, very straightforward. People are entering here, and we have liquidity above this high. All right. We also maybe, and this is very, very, very important. Rarely that we would see breakout traders entering here because this is the first structural shift or the relevant breakout structure, depending on where we are in the PA. They would wait for new low because this is just a switch and bias. I've seen a lot of people do these kinds of markups. And they would put breakout, breakout, breakout. Oops. Breakout, breakout. This is right. Very rarely have I seen a trader take a switch in bias decision over the first structural shift. as a breakout strategy. So be very cautious when you do those breakout here and you put stop losses here, because this is not understanding and putting yourself in their shoes. This is actually you marking up liquidity in hindsight. This is a huge mistake. Okay, so let's continue if you mind. Let's push price. All right, cool. Now we almost had a break and retest confirmation here. Not gonna mark it here. Also, as you guys can see, I didn't mark this one because it's not super clear, and I don't think it's okay. Again, marking up liquidity in terms of understanding is pretty personal. You have your own understanding. I'm just, when I'm correcting your technical chat or where I'm answering your questions, it's based on my knowledge. And you can do your own research and potentially you will discover things that I don't know, and I would love to if you would share it to me so I can sharpen my sword, because I'm pretty much bored right now and I'm trying to find new ways to develop my own strategy. So feel free to share if you have any insights in liquidity. So let's continue. Let's continue. Okay. Okay. Interesting. Pushing. Give it a new low. See, when I wait for that new low to confirm, this is what I want to see. Now, okay, this is where it gets tricky. Remember what I said earlier about the POI? This POI actually holds volume because this is the one pushing the price from here to here, creating this FBOS. So this becomes what we call an inducement. Very advanced, but again, since you guys are always trying to skip steps, I have to talk about it. Even though those equal lows will hold, in terms of liquidity, in terms of session, Asia midline here has not so much liquidity. Okay, what's building in the session is way better. Remember, people that are entering here isn't London session, is in New York session, and this is something people still have issues understanding. When I see some of your markups, some people are marking up this, and they're putting stop losses here. This is like literally 9 a.m. There's no hedge fund in terms of open hours that work at 9 p.m. Okay, but again, this is a USD, so it's a little bit different, right? So as you can see, AUDUSD has a lot of volume in it. So this is why liquidity can be built in Asia. So this again is something you need to understand. AUDUSD, your GPY, GBP, GPY, all these pairs, USD, GPY also, I don't trade this pair, but all these pairs provide volume in Asia. As you can see, we created that FBOS. We induce them to the high side, right? Sell to make a new high, creating this FBOS. Look at the volume they injected from this point to this point. This is 23 pips. It's a lot of volume just to induce them perfectly with this. So this becomes an inducement POI. It's also on equal lows. It's also at Asia midline. So basically, we are trading with the liquidity, right? This solidifies our thought. This is very advanced. I don't expect you guys to trade on any kinds of equal lows, equal highs. But as you guys will notice, I even trade with trendline trade. If there's money to be made, why would I skip it, right? I love trading into the liquidity and with the retail traders. I love it, right? A lot of trades I take also, you will notice that when there's like break and retest, I love entering to continue this. Just me. But again, the trade breakdown, the goal is not for you to take the same trade, it's for you to understand my thought process. So for me here, nothing to take, only here, and equal lows are most likely the only retail strategy that the more time it comes back to the support or resistance, the better it is. Okay? So the more times it comes back, the better it is. The same thing that when we have a full day of just upwards trend line, we can expect the next day to have our, say 1 week later, to have a good reaction. Okay? So let's go and let's go on M1. Since you guys are all ninjas now, let's talk about it, right? Let's look to the left as a justification, right? Which candle looks like an inducement or having action, right? This point needed an internal break of structure. It came back, mitigated this point, right? Now, this week, I love how it rejected this zone. So this means volume, this means icement. So this is potentially the stop, the point where everything got started. As you can see here, also all those rejection candle and big push has a big story, but I'm not going to talk about it. And as you can see, my stop loss went just below. If you guys don't mind, let me just pull that here. And as you guys can see, my stop loss went just below. And again, price back in there. I just waited. And here we go. The last push on the 30-second. And can I go in 30-second? Hopefully. Here we go. When we see, and this is advanced stuff again. I'm cheating. I'm going against what I said. When you see those gaps in 30 seconds, something is being prepared. And as you can see, here we go. Here we go. Boom. This is where when price came back, mitigated this zone, right? Inducing this shit with speed and momentum. I just bought here, right? Covering this low. Again, this is very advanced. You should never put your stop loss in there. You should just put it under the structure, and you should never buy at at equal lows. Never. But again, people are asking me to do it, to explain more advanced stuff, and showing you those advanced entries will at least, hey, hopefully make you realize that you're not ready. How many people would want to from here, buy from here, buy from here, buy from here, or sell from the other place? It's too advanced. Okay. I'm just making you realize that if you don't understand, and this is where people get it wrong. Oh, we have Asia midline. There's a reaction. There's a PY. There's no imbalance. But I mean, this is a structural zone, and you could buy. This is oversimplify what it is. Every single candle gives a story. Do you really think that I would perfectly cover this low of this candle without me knowing exactly which POI to take? Let's be serious. It's not my first barbecue. I have been to the party before. I know what I'm doing. This is advanced. Okay. Now let's go and trade in line with the liquidity. When price makes a new high here, this would make those equals even more juicy. So if I remember correctly, this was my invalidation zone. Give me a minute. I'm thirsty. 2 seconds. My apologies. This is not something I usually do. I always have a bottle right beside me, but I completely forgot it. So I'm very sorry. So coming back to the trade, as you can know, understanding why you have to buy from here comes from, first of all, understanding where is the liquidity. Right now, price just did these 2 touches, not so important. Like this is basically the PA right now, right? This, 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 right? The solidification of those equal high, equal lows comes from this point here. So when it makes a new high, it becomes interesting, right? And this, I think this is where people get trapped. They see those 2 points here, this not being even a structural point, and expect price to completely induce this point, right? This is important. I've taken Asia midline trades similar to this 100 times, and it all comes down to putting yourself in the retail shoes. You are a retail trader. You see this push here, this, this. Would you think that these two solidifies your strategy of equal lows, support, resistance, whatever? Of course not. You want a third touch. You want price to go even higher, right? These two actually gives you a better indication of the solidification of those equal highs. So I was talking to a member this week, and he was saying, how come these weren't induced? But like, it's so insignificant. This structural point is good. I agree. It's very good. It made a new high, but like, other than this point, not like, I just think that it's very important to understand that the whole purpose of this zone here is the equal lows. Equal lows comes and being solidified by this point. This is just not enough, especially this price here. They see this, then validation shield. This is what you're asking these guys to trade. Oops, sorry, this thing. When price comes back after this break of structure at this Asia high here, this is where it's good, right? This is where it gets good. Oops. This is where it gets good, right? See this? Exactly. Right? So put yourself in their shoes. Don't overcomplicate on seeing little liquidity points and expecting it to be induced. And even if it gets induced, it's even better, right? So you guys are not pulling the trigger. Of course, you're not supposed to trade, but you guys are not pulling the trigger right now because you see those equal lows and just expect price to induce it right now. And this is where experience comes in place. You know that those equal lows provide reaction. Why not trade with it? Right? Let's go. And at least I hope that you understand that the equal lows understanding, the insignificant liquidity here, when it will make a new high will be insignificant. The precise entry, understanding this POI here with this wick, seeing exactly those mini equal lows, that speed and momentum. At the second that I saw this candle inducing, I went into 30 seconds. In this 30 seconds, I just marked on the POI and took the buy. Like, you need to understand that it takes a minute for me to just like press the thing, go on trade assistant and enter. But that's it, right? But the stop loss location was meticulously taught. And how I do it, it's pretty simple. I just put the line here, right? This is my stop loss. And I just put it below, depending on what is the current spread of my broker. Of course, there's no spread, but you always want to cover a little bit. You double click, and you know exactly what the number. You copy paste, you go on trade assistant, you edit, you put your stop loss, bang, quickly. There's no such thing as like, trade assistant takes forever, the trade is gone. You need to be swift. So this is what I do. I do this. This is my stop loss. I cover a little bit, double click, copy paste, enter, boom. I'm in that trade, right? Then it's gone, right? And then you monitor price. Get it push here, first structure, relevant point here. So we would expect potential action at this here. This, the official break of structure here, this point low here. So we would expect maybe price to come back and kind of like mitigate or fill this imbalance. But you need to understand that we are in M1, M5, and let's see what we have here. Let's go back. Oh, better. Now we have that order flow SMC trader respecting that order flow. We have that rejection candle. If you go in M1, you see it same pattern, right? Go testing the zone here. It's all fractal, but I mean, I show you guys on M1 on M5, but it happens in all time frames. Clear vector candle, no doubts about it. Okay, reaction out of this supply zone. This is a supply, if I'm not mistaken. Price is giving you a reaction, and this is where I move myself to break even. I have no guarantee. I have no magic ball to know that if price will just come back here, go here, and the equal lows. You manage your trade, you react to the price, you don't predict. Every time I enter a trade, I have a static BE, and I just always edit it, modify, depending on what happens, right? I'm getting ahead of myself with the content, but it's okay. It's okay. I don't mind. I love talking about trading. It's just that I want you guys to realize that the path that I have for you guys is very, very solid. I know exactly what I'm doing, and if you have to be honest with your when you see an entry like this, looking at it in hindsight, it's always easy. It's always easy seeing it in hindsight. But can you be honest with yourself and confirm that you could be able to take this in life? If the answer is no, then I think I have a couple of things to teach you. Okay? Let's continue. Let's go. So now price comes back. Really straightforward. Fills the imbalance perfectly. This here, god damn it. Okay? And again, we will talk about imbalances soon. I think there's a lot of people that don't know what an imbalance is, but look at the POI. Also mitigate this POI on the M5. Cannot be more perfect. Freaking hell. Pushing, this is where it took, like, and this trade took forever. That was 1 hour and a half. Okay, so happens usually when we take those stop losses with speed and momentum here. This is the structural point. We should have a reaction. Yes, all right. Oh, pretty straightforward. Reaction also out of this freaking retest zone. Now, what do we also have? We have our false. So this is the first structural shift. Speed. So we would expect even those equal lows. Additionally to those equal lows, we now have a potential SMT. Okay. This boss. This one. Right? Again, this is what I do on a daily basis. When I'm in a trade, I see them on hindsight and I see them without marking it up. But you can see the break, it retests here. It adds you confidence. When I see this, I don't take partials. I let the trade run, right? Very, very simple. Now, let's go. And this, I think this is where I took my partials. It was perfectly stopped at the equal low here. To equal highs, sorry. And also at this supply zone. And I think that this was, if you see it here, rejection, 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 rejection. This was a solid close reaction, and we see price reacting. Now, I thought that we might potentially have an entry here when I was in the M1. Didn't decide to edge this entry, and when I saw that wick, I decided. I waited for that candle closure. I waited. I saw that candle forming, and when I went into one, I just decided to close. Even though price went higher, it was a little bit unfortunate, but I decided to close. Okay. So if you see now what price does, rejects here. Now we have a confirmed very, very soon. This is the structure that led to the new high. We have a reaction. This could potentially be our F-boss. Came back, mitigated this push here, completely irrelevant. I don't know why doing this. And we have our SMT confirmed here. Here we go. Here we go. Sip. Let's check on that. See, that's not so bad. We have, and look at the M1 candle, like the F boss. Look at the speed, and there's no entry here. I don't. Maybe, but that's not something I would think. Especially since I closed my position and in a fraction of seconds, of like 35 minutes, we had a major push. So this is not something I would take. And see price I choked after, and yeah. So now we have even more juicier equal low, equal highs, boom, 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 boom. Very, very common. Do here. Did we fill this imbalance? No. Okay. Price dumped after. I don't remember. And I'm improvising those videos. It's not planned. As you guys see, there's no real structure behind this video because the breakdown and the break of those pairs is actually me being honest. And I think that this is where I got blown afterwards, liquidating all the buy side equity. Our intentions of the day, this was really a point that got solidified when we had this structure high, right? This is structure. Market here, boom, 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 boom. Here, structural high. So people solidifying at this Asia mid, trying to buy. So these equal high lows became very, very good and very, very juicy at this point. I'm just trading with the retail, trading with the liquidity, understanding and mastering position entries. I think that I have become a good, I don't like to say expert, but I think I have a certain skill of seeing candles behavior in a lower time frame, able to actually in multi-time frame analysis. I'm able to see this candle an M5, and I clearly see what's happening here. As you can see here, the push, the decisional POI that led to this new high is this one. And look at those, how they get filled here. Even though it doesn't provide the move, it has volume, and this stop loss location wasn't invented. It wasn't them clearly thought off. And again, I could put my stop loss below here, but this is boring. And this is also the reasons why I take a couple of stop loss. I have been doing pretty good the last couple of weeks, but this is how I take stop losses because a little bit too greedy. I just smoked. Okay. So this is my trade of AUD. This was a 1 to 12. Actually took partial, and I was initially targeting the high, and they eventually took it after the solidification of equal highs. Even though those equal highs didn't make a new low, it came back and retested this zone times. Right, 1, 2, 3, 4. So it becomes significant based on the retest zone, not only when it does a low. Equal lows and equal highs are their own beast. It's the only thing that is different than the other retail strategy is the more they touch it, the highly confirmed it becomes, so the better it is, right? The more touches of a trend line, of a support or resistance line, makes it better. But again, we'll talk about it in a future video. I hope sincerely that this creates you even more hunger, because as you can see, look at the price, look like it's slowing down. Look at the speed and momentum of this FBOSS, right? Look at this. Never came back here, but it took that full imbalance here, and look, that's a 2.7. That's a master trade. That's perfect, right? Oh wait, same shit. It's always the same shit, right? Look, look, push, false, push, right? Liquidity, push, false, momentum, structural point, push, mitigation. Even though this is not very confirmed, boom. See? It's just love. It's just so simple, not easy, simple. Actually, this summarized the whole day. I hope you guys learned one thing or two. And without understanding and actually building experience, like forget about the retail strategy. Okay. Forget about your knowledge psychology. I've taken probably over 200 trades exactly the same. So I use this experience as a risk factor, and I use this as an edge. So what would be the worst case scenario of this trade, right? That I enter here and that price induces this equal lows, right? It does this, induces these equal lows, and then provides an entry, and I re-enter here. Fine. I think that when it comes down to those missed opportunities, I think that you guys just cannot accept that you can be wrong. I'm wrong also. And there's, if the analysis and the story has been very understood, look at the sell side liquidity they're building, right? We know for a fact that this needs to be taken today, doesn't need to be today, but the idea of the trade is still valid. Even though the entry is wrong, the idea and the directional bias is still right. So if they just induce this, come back, and then I take the trade, it's even easier. So I don't have to stress out and figure out where I enter, because it's just easier. They will give you that perfect entry every single time when there's valid liquidity taken. Look at this thing here. So I think it comes down also to your psychology, that some of you guys cannot accept the fact that you stop loss, and you will immediately try to re-enter again instead of waiting. And I think I start to at least see some of the members feeling that FOMO, feeling that, I don't understand how you entered there. But there's always, always, always a valid reason for me to enter in trades. It's never random, even though trades like this look random. It's really thought off, and I think that it just comes down to hard work, dedication, and the most important fact, experience. We've seen this multiple times. The same thing that, let's say, you decide to not look in all your mirrors when you decide to park in your parking, right? Reverse, it's you're taking a risk, but a calculated risk on experience, knowledge, right? Same thing goes with everything in life. We always start skipping procedures when we become master at something. When I say the word master, it's not because you're a master at, let's say, at cooking, but you skip steps, and it's not really skipping steps. It's that you figure it out, a shortcut. I've seen those Asia midline, those POIs, those inducement POI that got created at FBOSS and made a new high here, hundreds, if it's not even thousands of times. Because when I trade live, I like going back in TradingView and taking screenshots of valid entries similar, right? This is my type of backtest. is I like to confirm that those entries actually work. More and more I take screenshots and I see those setups like this, the more and more my brain's remembers. So this is just a matter of having a gut feeling that, okay, this POI is also an inducement POI. This took the short people to enter. It decided to push the price lower to induce short people. They pushed their price here, right? Taking out the liquidity, coming back, mitigating their own, pushing liquidity, as you see again, just taking more of those early sellers, inducing release of liquidity again, coming back again. It's always rinse and repeat. And this is why you should never, never try to figure out of an inducement. Understand the story. When you're here, the only liquidity highly confirmed is this and this, right? Just wait until this one gets induced and see if you can find an opportunity. If you don't, then don't. I think that you guys are trying to like target all the liquidity from the same day, and I think it just comes down to practicing. To be honest, I went a little bit overboard with this video, 45 minutes. So I'm very sorry, but I think the improvisation was pretty good. I hope that this type of entry makes you realize that you have a lot of homework to do. And I hope that for the rest, the simple stuff that we discussed about, that you understand everything. If you didn't, you know, here to help. Again, I want to build traders. I'm not here to make friends. I'm not here to, I'm respectful, but I'm not here to tell you that you're doing good if in case you guys decided to give me support. Actually, trust me to build you trading life and put you in a better position. The same way that you, when you go on a coach or a martial artist or sensei or whatever, they're not nice during the sessions. Learn better. It's very important. I cannot guarantee that everybody will be consistent and profitable, but I can guarantee with $1,000,000 down the line that everybody will be in a better position. It comes down to just understanding the market better, fine. If it comes down to having a better psychology, fine. If it comes down to understanding how to enter trades or how to be, everybody will be in a better position. Trust me, believe in me, and trust the process. I think I've did my proof in the last month. I've traded live, showed everything I've taken, all the mistakes, all the trades, and if there's anything, you just let me know, right? Catch you guys in Discord. Bye.